My name is Ajuchuku Okabu.
You're welcome. It's good to have you on Good Morning Anambra show today. Apologies for coming up a bit behind schedule. It's due to some unforeseen circumstances. Thank you so much for always waking up with us. My name is Nonya Nwokoye. We begin with the press review.
Glad to have you stay with us. And we begin as we start with the news making rounds on ABS website as flagship of our program this morning. And we begin with 3 years in office. Bishop Kuka comments Soludo on education, health, infrastructure. Anambra AG Okoli happy with Soludo's achievement in 3 years. Anambra governorship election, Itiaba wants Soludo's vision sustained. More stakeholders laud Soludo on achievement after 3 years. Reverend Father Obiora emerges new chairman, chancellor of Tansia University, Umunya Board of Trustees. And we have philanthropists, honorable awards scholarship to 50 indigent students. Senate to prioritize passage of Nigerian Forest Security Service Bill. U.S. fighter jet kill at least 32 people in Yemen. World Bank considers $1.13 billion loans for Nigeria. Last but not the least, FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Women World Cup, Nigeria beat South Africa 2-0.
All right, we're the first paper for review. Vanguard newspaper, that's the first paper we are taking a look at this morning. Global trade war, Naira value depreciates amid forex outflows. We have read as there, CBN intervenes with $500 million as Naira depreciates to 1,600 Naira per dollar. Currency dealers lament dollar scarcity, projects further Naira depreciation. Banks not selling dollars to us, BDC operators seek CBN's intervention. FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier, Amruche lists 13 pros for Super Eagles showdown. We won't follow El Rufai to SDP. That's coming from Lamido. Abductors of Ondo businessman, wife, daughter demand 30 million naira ransom. And of course, other stories, Rivers government assembly in war of words over budget presentation. Fubara frustrating implementation of Supreme Court judgment. That's allegation coming from the Rivers Assembly. Other stories, the Serap sues Akpabio over Senator Botuduan's suspension. And UBA, ICANN partner to drive innovation in finance accounting.
Quickly, let's go to the next paper for review this morning, and that's the Punch newspaper. How subsidy removal tension worsen Nigeria's fuel scarcity. And we have the writer there saying fuel marketers decry closure of stations at border towns. Citizens demand more Nigerian goods. And then we have the picture there, 59 killed, 155 hospitalized in Macedonian nightclub fire. Ashake ready to buy me house, says father, baby mama alleges neglect. Wow. Governors lobby Tinubu to block local government direct payments. And we have the budget. A budget letter, Rivers Assembly differ, Fubara urges House to reconvene.
All right, quickly we move to the Sunday Independent. On Sunday Independent, to have this story, call those hitting the polity to order. Bode George charges federal government as Lagos State stands still for landmark achievement. I think we have to move to the Guardian newspaper because that paper is yesterday's paper. Right, on the Guardian newspaper, we have worries over sharp practices, abuse of free trade zones regulation. Also, 2027, Wike others affirm support for Tinubu's second term amid growing opposition. Wike's toxic politics threat to your re-election bid. Niger Delta Youth tells Tinubu Assembly queries Fubara's sincerity on budget presentation. NAFDAC seizes over 100 truckloads of unsafe drugs, narcotics. Ogun launches new initiative to curb maternal newborn mortality. Army attacks Eko Disco over power outage. Okay, OPE extends 1.2 billion naira 10-year scholarship initiative to Obafemi Awolowo University. NPA 15% hike pushes betting charges to $200,000. All right, that's the much coming from the Guardian.
Up next is the Daily Trust newspaper. We have why Niger is facing deep fuel crisis. That's coming from refinery chiefs, smuggling surges along border communities. IGP launches Zulum's distribution of 110 patrol vans, 500 motorcycles, 280 houses to police and others. And that's what's taking the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
Right, next is the blueprint, and on the blueprint we have 1.7 billion naira liabilities by 45 oil companies. Reps recover 28.7 billion naira from Chorus Energy Seplat. We have a ride there, 199.3 million of 6.8 billion naira excessive charges from banks too. How I got access to attend IPU meeting in New York. Natasha Akpoti Uduara speaking. All right, don't allow emotion dictate your decisions. Lamido tells El Rufai, blasts governor over call for opposition to join PDP. Go and take up teaching job. APC chieftain tells El Rufai. Nigeria to capture 50% of $43 billion oil gas feeds. Fubara's crisis caused by bad advisors. Troops arrest 2 notorious bandits, recover weapons. The NDLEA naps 2 behind U.S.-Italy bound cocaine in prayer beads. Okay, allegations. Okay, business news. Allegations of fraud, unfounded, false. That's a report coming from First Bank. And the World Cup qualifiers, Super Eagles full house in Kigali. All right, I don't know if we have any other people before we talk on 1 or 2 points. I think we look at the 3 years in office of our governor, though it's going to form a major discussion this morning, but a lot of encomiums being poured on the governor. In fact, while I was driving to work this morning, my mind was just, Anambra is in the news again, this time around for, great and good reasons. And everybody that steps into Anambra can see that something is actually happening. Then on Friday, I was somewhere. On Friday evening between 7 and 8, I saw so many great people that came in from outside Anambra State. We were together. And come and see what they were saying about the governor of Anambra State. And I was, wow, all this great news, coming out. And we say congratulations to our governor and, of course, to Ndi Anambra on 3 years in office.
Of course, if you have visited Anambra in the past 3 years and you're coming in more regular this time around, you definitely understand why Soludo has won many awards, you understand? Most recently being the one that was given to him by Sun newspaper. But at the same time...
Daily Independent is the latest.
Yeah, no. Now, when you talk about awards, like I'm one of the people that sit down here and I tell people that when you give awards to people, you understand, let it be on merit. Let it not be because, okay, this person is a governor, this person holds
this person can dole out
exactly
huge amount.
exactly can dole out huge amount. Just most of these awards we see people collect, most of them have been bought. Let's be frank. But when you see the one that is actually doing the work and then he wins it, you will definitely know that, okay, fine, this is well merited and this is well deserved. And that's what we see. And for most people that come into Anambra State, if you've not been in Anambra for a while and you visit on a regular basis, you'll definitely be seeing the transformation that's happening
You know the one that gladdens my heart so much. I think Anambra State is becoming cleaner. When I heard the story that someone recharged his phone and dropped that little card and was caught in Onitsha, and now people are
conscious
very, very conscious of dropping things on the road. If not, Onitsha used to be dirtier than what I see currently. These are all kudos.
Yeah,
we give it up to the governor, and his working team. But they should not relent.
Of course,
they shouldn't relent.
They shouldn't relent because we want that sustainability to go on so that we can be likened as one of the cleanest and the greenest states in Nigeria, but which is very, very possible.
And one of his promises to make it a livable state.
Yeah. So all hands on deck. You and I, we definitely can make it work. Even the governor and his team too can do their own part. Now let's begin with the first story. We have here talking about the Naira value, the global trade war. Naira value depreciate amid forex outflows. And now we're seeing CBN intervening with $500 million. Wow, as Naira depreciates to 1,600 Naira per dollar. What worrisome about it all is that Bureau de change operators are complaining that they don't even have these dollars, you understand, to even do business with. And then we're beginning to wonder, $500 million. So where is this money actually going? If the people that are actually meant to even trade with it are not even having...
I don't even want to know where it is going or where it is not going. My own is, we are Nigerians and we are in Nigeria. We should talk more of our own currency, much more than other people's currency. Because I don't think in the US they talk about Naira,
Nope.
You can imagine people running businesses in Nigeria in dollars. And the latest I've noticed now is that some of the trainings you go in any African country, they'll tell you, the price of registration is always in dollars. So what actually is going on?
Exactly.
It's high time we begin to talk about our currency, we begin to use it. There are some schools in Nigeria that pay school fees in dollars. So why is it so? And why can't government stop that? You're paying school fees in another man's currency while your own currency keeps depreciating and keep dying. Because depreciation is, trying to coat it.
Well, let's see what we have here talking about. El-Rufai seems to be making the rounds, you understand, virtually almost on all papers.
I was actually reading the story of El-Rufai written by Odinkalo this morning, and and I think Odinkalo was moved to make that writing because of what El-Rufai said about moving to SDP and all whatnot, and trying to see other people that will equally move with him. Somebody said he should go back to classroom.
Yeah, go back to classroom.
He was once a teacher?
Yeah, but probably he has probably the flair for teaching, and let's see if that will happen. But then we won't follow El-Rufai to SDP. That's coming from Lamido. That's to make you understand that there has been a lot of consultation.
Lobbying.
You understand? Yeah, they are lobbying and trying to see how they can make their permutations and the rest of it all. But at the same time, you might think of this El-Rufai move as probably a plot. You understand? By either the APC to unsettle political parties and make them weaker and the rest of it all. Because we just keep hearing this exchange of words that El-Rufai is just one man. That's the APC talking this time around, that because he wasn't given an appointment and he's busy, you understand, like a dog without a leash. So you begin to wonder, what is actually going on here? We've not had it like this in recent time. And we've had other people come out to say that actually, even El-Rufai inclusive, saying that the parties, I mean, the unrest in most of these political parties is sponsored by APC. So
the truth remains that politicians in Nigeria, what our people call apunapuna, you know, they are never one place. They move from party to party, and most times you see that it's equally the same people moving around. But Nigerians, it's high time our politicians know what their people actually need. You know, when they get to that place, they should try as much as possible to do what they are supposed to do. Enough of this noise running from one political party to the other, and at the end of the day, we still go back to you know, status quo. I don't know. It's high time they know why they are politicians in the first place. It's high time they know what they ought to do as leaders, because they're not young any longer.
Of course.
You know, and I thought that growing up, I thought that when somebody grows to a certain age, you know, maturity starts in, you know, you begin to leave some things that you used to do when you were younger that are not in order, and try to do things or try to make amends, you know, where you have gone wrong. Somebody that is 50 years, 60 years should not be doing the same thing he did when he was 20 or 30 years ago. They are leaders. People look up to them. They should, you know, sorry, they should at least, you know, live up to their responsibilities, because they are our leaders, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, they are our leaders. Now, still talking about leaders, we have what the Guardian newspaper is talking about. 2027, Wike orders affirm support for Tinubu's second term amid growing opposition. And then we still have the Niger Delta youth saying that Wike's toxic politics is a threat to Tinubu's re-election. When you see what's happening in Rivers State, and what has happened, you know.
Whether it's a threat or it's not a threat. We know for election in Nigeria, if actually election in Nigeria is, you know, vote your choice and you are given the choices you made, all these things will not be coming up. Whether we like it or not, if they want to take it back to him, he will definitely be there. That is just what we are being faced with in this part of the country. If actually INEC should rise up to their responsibility to, when people vote for a particular candidate, they make sure that that particular candidate wins the election. Instead of, you know, all these things we are seeing, you see that people are not perturbed, whether you are talking trash of them. Okay, let's take for instance the election that brought our president into seat. All the reports that came, even people that said they went to US to dig out information, all those things, where did it take us to? You know, what happened? And we saw people following P2B here and there, crying here and there, you know, youths coming out in their numbers, sleeping in INEC offices to collect their cards, cooking there and everything. At the end of the day, what happened? So whether Wike's tantrums is going to be a threat to Tinubu's election or not, is not what they want to, what they are after. The truth is that if they want him to remain there, he will remain. That's just the thing.
So more like we are, will I say, in bondage here? More like.
Okay, do we look at the story of Rivers State, because it appears virtually in all the papers we read this morning, you know. I don't know. Ndị Igbo si n'onwe ebe ihe ga-elu ọ dịzie ka abina mmọnwụ nọrị nne n'ọgbọ, you know. The Rivers story by now they should have moved on to help Rivers people, because it's not just about them. It's not just about
of course, it's not
leadership position. The people are looking up to them they want something to happen in their state, and after it's 2 years, going to 2 years in office. He's been fighting from one fight to the other. Now they said, Fubara said he went to the house of, they locked him out. But those ones are saying that they did not lock him out, that they didn't see any. So who are we going to believe his own report now?
Well, it's so funny the way things are actually going. Even the president has got to wade in and by saying that Fubara should, respect the Supreme Court's judgment. And when you look into that Supreme Court judgment, you see that what is actually there, it's more like a hands-off for the young man. I doubt if he can actually adhere to every detail of what is written there. But if he does that, then that means he's no longer the governor as far as things are concerned. So I think the rule of law is what we are failing to see happen in Nigeria, and it's very, very pathetic, whereby the people that we elect to be in power are not even living up to the power that puts them in office. There's a constitution. How many of our leaders obey the constitution to the letter?
And that's the thing. Do you know that once people begin to respect and obey laws, constituted authority, things will normally, naturally fall in place.
Of course.
You know, and crimes will reduce. A lot of things will change for good.
Well, part of it would, like you said, things will change for good. But then, how do we stop this issue of people emerging from incumbents, that is, incumbents replacing their cronies, you understand, with their cronies when they exit power? This is what we need to look for a way to stop in this part of the world, sincerely speaking. Because you always have that issue of, okay, I made you who you are, so you need to pay, honor me, respect me, do my bidding.
Forgetting that there is still finish.
Apart from the fact that there is still finish, to whose interest is that issue of one replacing himself when he's leaving power? That's not to the interest of Nigerians. That's to the interest of the
this
Godfather.
Thing you're saying.
Yeah?
Do you know that this thing you're saying is equally in civil service? Yes, I've seen that happen. When people get somebody to replace the seat where they moved from, so that they will cover them up, you know, or they will always stand.
It's still the same, because it's not
like
for the interest of the organization.
That is
neither is it for the interest of the people that you're governing. So, sincerely speaking, these are the areas where we need to checkmate this whole thing. A sitting governor should hands off. You do your part, you hands off. Allow, that is where now we now say respected authority. Allow the primary, the party to conduct a primary without your interference. And then let somebody with credibility be appointed. What do you need somebody to come and do your cover-up for? What?
I tell you, we need divine intervention in this situation.
Let us leave divine.
Because while you were talking, you know, my mind is just going round to see that there are so many areas in all our sectors that need to, you know, in fact, things are not really aligning the way they should in this country. Where you get first class, what your first class doesn't count as long as you don't know anybody to give you a job in this nation. And some schools, your child cannot, get into that because they don't know one or two persons. Yeah. And of course, Nigerians are crying that they are hungry. But most of us, once we are plugged to politicians, it doesn't matter again. We don't care whether you are crying or you're not crying. So a lot of things are not really the way they should in our nation. No equality, the rights of people are trampled upon on a daily basis. Rules of laws are not obeyed. You know, even those that made the laws don't even obey the law.
Exactly. So the moment we get the legislature, the executive, the judiciary to play their role without prejudice, without sentiment, things will begin to fall in order, because we have laws, but the issue is implementation, execution of it, or that's the problem we're having in this country. Down to as minute as traffic lights. Oh. Do you know that sometimes you will approach a traffic light and it's red, and you stop. And somebody will be honking behind, blaring his hair, his horn on you. And you'll be wondering, more like telling you, why are you stopping? There's no vehicle coming. Why are you stopping? You should move. And if the citizenry can't have that change, that change of mindset, that different orientation towards something as minute as traffic light, how much more the bigger picture?
Now look at what is happening in Anambra State currently, and I tell you that there is a possibility of changing Nigeria for good. You can imagine that people can no longer drop things from vehicles on it. Yeah. That means we can.
We can.
There's a possibility.
It's just the implementation of all these laws.
If we tell ourselves the truth, it must begin somewhere. It begins somewhere, because I remembered when my first child entered the secondary school newly. I don't know, they were teaching them in school not to drop things. So that time, I think he took some snacks in the car, and I went down glasses. He said, "Mommy, please, no, let me drop it. I will throw it when we get home." Something like that. So they started from primary school, nurturing them that when you eat, there's a waste bin for you to drop. And I remember there was a time where when you enter public transport,
there's a basket.
There's a small bucket where you can drop your
waste.
So with what is currently going on in our state, there is a possibility to get it right. But we pray that what is happening here will be replicated in other states. And in other sectors, in other sectors where people use their biro to siphon our resources and all whatnot. I think we have started small, and we hope that it's going to continue and get to other areas in our society.
Well, nice for that, your submission there. Let's see what we have on the Blueprint newspaper this morning, talking about the NDLEA NAB 2 behind US-Italy bound cocaine in prayer beads. Wow, that's really, has been taking it to the next level, prayer beads. And then we also have this.
This is not the first time. We've had stories of people that concealed drugs inside Bible. We've had that before. It has happened in this country. So,
Bible will be even easy to, figure out. But prayer beads, do you know how tiny those beads are?
Some are bigger. Some are bold. Some are like, the beads are bigger, like this hand or something like that. So some are bigger than the others. They have prayer beads that are bold now.
Okay. Because I'm beginning to wonder, how many of it do you want to squeeze into that tiny beads and the rest of it? And then we have allegations of fraud, unfounded, false. That's coming from First Bank. There was a story that was making the rounds on the internet talking about how a lady defrauded a customer to the tune of 500 million naira. And now First Bank is coming out to say that story is false. I just hope, because when I read that story, I was beginning to imagine the kind of integrity that people that work in banks probably do have now, and it wasn't funny.
It boils down to the same thing we're saying. Every sector is deeply affected.
Yeah. How can you be making
by corruption, bribery,
and then do you know the scary part? That you were making withdrawals, you understand? And the owner of the account wasn't even aware that withdrawals was happening on his own account. They have their way
of making things happen. It's just like when they steal cables from our transformers. Is it not yet that will go to transformer? Of course, it's people that knows how it works that will go there to steal cables. So it's the same thing. Wow. And that's what is going on. They can't just, even if there are outsiders, there must be collaborators inside to help them. Sorry. So that's just, and it's going to lead the person to where the azu is so that he can actually take the fish from wherever it is hidden. That is what is happening. a person that doesn't know your roots cannot trace you.
Of course. Still on the blueprint, how I got access to attend the IPU meeting in New York. That's coming from Natasha.
So they should stop probing.
Yeah, they should. They should definitely stop probing because
She has come out to
we heard a whole lot about how can somebody under suspension be having the, what will I say? It's not as if you're going there to represent Nigeria. So how did you find your way there when you're under suspension here? So probably Natasha has come up to tell us how she did that. So I think DSS and the rest of it all should go there and get to find out. And don't allow emotions dictate your decisions, Lamido tells El Rufai. And this was where he said he should go back to teaching. You understand? So let's see how that pans out with, you know, as the days unfold towards the so-called 2027 election. The election, the momentum towards the 2027 election, I think is even gathering more storm than the 2023 election.
They should give Nigerians food to eat first. That I keep saying it. They started talking about 2027 since last year.
Since last year?
Yes, since last year. And it's looking like once you get to the seat, the next thing is to plan.
The next election.
Is to plan how to remain there.
The next election.
Know, I don't know. And you're not getting any younger. Why should you remain on a seat that long? Anyway, let's see what plays out. It's just their interest, but please let them know that we equally need help from them as our leaders. Let them do the needful to help ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians.
Well, while they are helping, we are still having the issues of NAFDAC seizes over 100 trucks of unsafe drugs and narcotics. 100 trucks. Even
this is why Niger is facing deep fuel crisis. Refinery chiefs smuggling surges along border communities. We have people that are manning those borders that should know what goes in and out of the country. They should be held responsible if anything happens. And it still boils down to what we're saying. You know, bribery, corruption, having eaten deep into the fabrics of our nation. And one wonders, where are we going if we allow these things to continue? Because this is not how a society prospers.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing that we're having here. At the same time, you begin to wonder, those people in authority, do we even have enough in Nigeria, let alone to now have, you know, what we should be using here to be finding its way out of the shores of this country.
All right, that's the much we have for you on Press Review. I hope you take a look at the papers and see more stories or details of the stories read out here. You sit back, for we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show.